Hi, Autry. Welcome to another first chapter read we're doing today. Today I'm going to be reading One for the Murphys. It's by one of my favorite authors, Linda Mullally Hunt, who actually came to see us here at Autry a couple years ago. It was a fantastic visit, and she talked all about writing and how she writes her books, and we were so happy to have that opportunity because we won it from Scholastic Book Fairs. It was wonderful to meet one of my favorite authors, and I had just finished this book about 2 months before we found out she was coming. So that was really cool because the students got to talk to her about this book and a couple of her others. So I'm going to read first chapter today of One for the Murphys. Chapter 1 is called Lucky Girl, and I like it when an author gives you the kind of the title of the chapter, just because then you kind of know a little bit about what the chapter is going to be about. Sitting in the back of the social worker's car, I try to remember how my mother has always said to never show your fear. She'd be disappointed to see me now, shaking. Just go without a fight. Or just going without a fight. The social worker, Mrs. McAvoy, pulls out of the hospital parking lot while I play with the electric lock button on her car door. Lock, unlock. Lock, unlock. She glares at me in the mirror and says, "Please stop that. The door needs to stay locked." I love it when people use the word please, but they sound like they want to remove your face. I stop. But I'm not doing it to bug her like she thinks. It's just that I can't keep still. And it beats jumping out of a moving car. My fingers play with the hospital bracelet. I stare at my name, Carly Connors. 13 letters. How unlucky can one person be? I think about my mother, still there lying in her hospital bed like an eggplant. I wonder if she's conscious yet. I wonder why no one will tell me what's happening with her. And I wonder why I can't seem to ask anyone. Can't ask anymore. Glazing out the window, I count the trees. Connecticut is covered with them, but in March the branches are still bare, like long gray fingers waving us along as we speed by. We're almost there, Miss McAvoy says, taking a corner faster than I think any social worker is supposed to. I think back to sitting in the hospital bed, bunching the blankets up into fists, asking her if they were going to send me to an orphanage. "We don't call them orphanages anymore," she'd said, shaking her head and laughing, like that was the point. Now I'm trapped in her car, going to a place she's chosen. After what my stepfather has done, I'm terrified thinking about what kind of foster house I may land in. The things that could happen to me. I think of that Little Mermaid mural near the nurse's station. How the Tooth Fairy gave me the CD when I was 7, and my mother let me get up to listen when I found it under my pillow at midnight. We danced around the kitchen together. She sang "Kiss the Girl" as she chased me to get a kiss. I never once ran away for real. "You know," Mrs. McAvoy says, pulling me back to reality, "you're a very lucky girl." "You're kidding me, right?" Her mouth bunches up. "Well," she sounds like a ticking time bomb. "It's a nice home, a good placement. You are lucky." "I guess I should buy a lottery ticket then." "Someday, Carly, you're going to have to realize that being angry at the whole world only hurts you." I wonder if that isn't the point. We drive up to a house the color of dirt. Tall, thin trees surround it, like guards on watch. There's a 66 on the mailbox. A palindrome. Mrs. McAvoy opens the car door for me. "This is a very nice family, Carly." She puts emphasis on my name, as if to give me a warning. "And this is the first time they've taken a foster child." I know this is her way of telling me to be a good girl. The walk up the driveway feels like wading through glue. I've read books and seen movies. I know what foster parents are like. They smoke cigars and feed you saltines for breakfast. 1, 2, or 3, 7, 8, 9, standing on a porch. I count the leaves on the plastic wreath that hangs on the door. The bright redness of the flowers reminds me of the swirling lights of the ambulance. I have a vague memory of my mother screaming for me and my own voice trying to yell for her, and the taste of blood. I remember that. I remember the blinding pain surging through my body and then feeling nothing at all, wondering if a person like me would go to heaven. I jump when the door swings open and a woman smiles. She is the kind of person you'd never look at twice. Her hair is shoulder length, straight, and different shades of brown. Her blue V-neck sweater matches her eyes, and she wears a silver leaf necklace and plaid pants. I mean, plaid pants. She holds out her hand. Hello, Carly. How nice to meet you. I'm Julie Murphy. I can't reach back. Even the name feels fake, too perky. I wonder why she's happy to meet me. I wonder how much she knows, and I hope that I do not like her. Then this whole thing gets even worse. Mrs. Murphy steps to the side. Behind her stands 3 boys. The smallest one runs over, stretching his hands up towards his mother, and she swoops him up. I can't stay here. I'm probably here to be a live-in babysitter or a modern-day Cinderella. The oldest boy looks at me like he wants to wrap me in a carpet and leave me on the curb. I haven't cried since my mother told me she was going to marry Dennis. That was 384 days ago. But I want to cry now. His mother tips her head to the side and holds my gaze until I just can't look anymore. I hear her voice soft. Why don't you come in, Carly? Okay, so I'm just going to confess something. As I was reading that towards the end, I started to tear up a little because I know what happens in this story. And I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I believe we have it in an ebook format on Destiny Discover. We might even have it on Sora. But we also have several copies here in the CLC if you want to check it out. It is available for checkout. All you had to do is go into Destiny Discover and put the book on hold. And then next Monday night, you can come in and or go into the bus loop and pick it up. We'll be out there waiting for you with your book selections all bagged up and ready to go. So I highly, highly, highly recommend this book. And just because Miss Foster was starting to tear up and just because it's about a girl does not mean that boys don't like this book. Boys like this book too. I love the way the author writes it. And when I read it, I can see it happening in my head. I can see those crisp leaves. And one thing that author, when she was here, that she talked about, Miss Hunt, she said that when she writes from her life. And she wrote this book after she had visited this area, or maybe she lived in this area. I can't remember. It's been several years now. But she never writes about a place that she has not been, whether it's lived or visited. And sometimes she goes to that area to live in a house and write the book that's placed in that area so that she can describe everything perfectly to her readers. And I absolutely love that. And her description in this book is just incredible. So if you have not read One for the Murphys, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. All right, Autry, have a great day and keep reading.